Alright, this is the 11-4.5 notes. So this is area of composite figures. So in the first blank, we are going to write a composite figure is a figure that can be separated into regions that are basic figures. Okay, so what we are going to do is, I think there's only 4 examples. I don't think, yeah, there's on the back side. So just 4 examples of composite figures. Before I go through this though, if your video, if it's ever slow, okay, make sure you look at the settings, that little wheel at the bottom right, and make sure it's not on HD setting, make sure it's on 480. So you just click that video quality, click 480, it takes it off of HD and it will play a lot quicker. Alright, so here we go. To find the area of a composite figure, separate the figure into basic figures of which we can find the area. The sum of the areas of the basic figures is the area of the figure. So for this first one, there's 2 areas we're going to do. I'm first going to look at the area of this rectangle. So let me zoom in over here. So to find the area of the rectangle, we are going to do length times width. Your length, okay, is 34 feet. And your width is 15 feet. So don't forget, especially today, because you have a paper worksheet, do not forget that you have to turn in all of your work with your worksheet. So area of my rectangle is going to be 34 feet times 15 feet. And when you multiply 34 times 15, you get 510 feet squared. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to look at over here is this half a circle. So what I have is area. I'm going to attempt to draw half a circle is equal to 1/2 pi r squared. Well, to figure out what r is, okay, my diameter here, this piece is going to be 15 feet. So to find my radius, I take 15 and divide it by 2. And my radius is going to be 7.5 feet. So to find my area, area is going to be 1/2 times pi times 7.5 feet squared. When I multiply all that out, I'm going to leave a couple of decimals. So when I multiply all that out, I will get, 88.36 feet squared. So to find the total area, so I'm going to put a T for that, area total, it's the area of my square plus the area of my half circle. So that gives me area of my, I say square, rectangle, sorry, it's 510 feet squared plus the 88.36 feet squared. And so my area total, I'm going to round to the nearest tenth, will give me 598.4 feet squared. Alright, and you can always, pause this, rewind it, watch it again. You can watch as many times as you want to watch it. Okay, so for number 7, I have 2 quadrilaterals here that I'm going to look at. And so I have the area is going to be base times height. And there's 2 of them because they are the same measurements. So since this whole thing's 40 inches and I know these pieces right here are congruent, I'm just going to take 40 and divide it by 2. So I'll get 20 inches here and I'll get 20 inches there. So if I can find the area of like one piece, okay, so did not want that, let me erase that. Okay, come on thing, there we go. If I can find the area of one side and multiply that by 2, then I'll have the area of the whole thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find my area by doing base times height. Well, my base is 20 inches and my height is 24 inches. So the area is going to be 20 inches times 24 inches and that will get me 480 inches squared. So remember, that's just 1 over here, and I have 2 in there concurrent, so this is 480 inches squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to times this by 2, and when I do that, I'll get 960 inches squared. Okay, let's see, the third one. So same thing, kind of the same thing here. I have 20, 40, and 64. So what I'm going to do is find my area of one of my trapezoids, and I'm just going to double it because here's the thing again. This whole piece is 64, so when I cut that into half, that's going to be 32. That's a highlighter. 32 meters, and this is going to be 32 meters. And remember, it didn't matter which one you labeled as base 1 and base 2. So if you notice, they had the same measurements for the bases and they had the same height. So as long as I can find the area of one of these, okay, and then if I can find the area of one trapezoid and then just times it by 2, then I'll have the area of the entire figure. So for this one, area of a trapezoid is 1/2 times the sum of my bases times my height. Well, one of my bases I'm going to label that as 20 meters. Another base I'm going to label that as 40 meters, and my height here is going to be 32 meters. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my formula. So area is equal to 1/2. I'm going to add my bases together, so 20 meters plus 40 meters. And I'm going to times it by the height, which is 32 meters. So when you work all that out, that should come out to 960 meters squared. But what I have to do is I'm going to have to multiply this by 2, because what that means is this is 960 meters squared. Since this is the same measurements, this will be 960 meters squared. So I can just times this by 2, and I can get 1,920 meters squared. So I'll call that area total. Okay, last one that I'm going to do over here. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this problem. The way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to do kind of like the area of a rectangle. So I'm going to get like this whole piece here. Okay, the way that my brain sees this. And like I said, there's different ways you can do this. I see this whole thing as the area of a rectangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of this whole rectangle. Okay, so to find the area of this rectangle, it would be length times width or base times height, whatever you want to use. My length was 35 yards and my width is 15 yards. So the area of my rectangle would be 35 yards times 15 yards. So area of my rectangle, when I multiply 35 and 15, would give me 525 yards squared. Okay, so that's part of it. Then what I would do is I would go ahead and find the area of one of these triangles right here. Okay, so my area for a triangle is going to be base times height divided by 2. Well, I know my base is 15 yards. And your height here, okay, so there's part of that. That's like the other triangle. The height here is just half of 35. So half of 35 is 17.5, and that's going to be yards. So that's my height. So when I plug this in, area is going to equal base, which is 15 yards squared. I mean, not yards squared, just yards, times height, which is 17.5 yards. Divide that by 2. That should come out to 131. I'm going to leave some decimals in here, 0.25 yards squared. Alright, so then what you want to do, that's just one triangle. So what I need to do is I got to multiply this by 2 because I have 2 triangles in there. And when I multiply that by 2, I get 262.5 yards squared. So I have the area of the whole rectangle. I have the area of the two triangles. To find your final answer, you just have to subtract them. So area total would be the area of that rectangle. Why did I draw a triangle? I don't know. Area of the rectangle minus the area of both those triangles. So the area of my rectangle is 525 yards squared, minus this 262.5 yards squared. So area total will be 262.5 yards squared. And again, like I said, there's a couple other ways that you could have done this problem. So if you have your own method of how to find the area of your shaded region of those two triangles without having to do the rectangle subtracting it, that is completely fine too. That's it. So after this, you're going to work on your worksheet that goes along with these problems. Just please make sure that you show your work. You label all the parts of your work. That way you get the full credit.